Hi, hello. Thanks, Arkadiusz, for joining. We'll start in 1 minute, just. Okay, so just an organizational question. Do you see my presentation? Do you hear me? Great. Okay. So just a minute. Okay, it's 9:15. So let's start. Okay. So, okay. My name is Marta Fydrych-Gąsowska, and I work in Akamai Technologies as InfoSec and compliance advisor. And today I will try to answer this question: will security education heal all our issues? Because it isn't so obvious. So wait a minute. Okay, let's go quickly through the plan. First of all, I will tell a little bit about that data processing and AI definitely needs ethics. Then I will take you to the metaverse, which is so glorified recently, and I will show you that uh, beside many possibilities, there is also a lot of threats and risks, especially for privacy and also for security of users. And then just a quick shot to biotechnology and its risks. Uh, then after I will tell a little bit about generations Z and Alpha. So these are our kids. And as in bank, there is a procedure, know your client. So here also, when we want to teach them about security, privacy, how to stay safe in internet, we also should know them as in banks, as banks want to know their clients. Uh, then I will tell you how to talk to generation Z and Alpha about security and privacy, because sometimes something with what is obvious for us, not exactly is that what our children hear. And finally, uh, we will try together answer the question. So, will the security education heal all our issues or not at all? Okay, so let's go. In 2018, IBM Institute explored how corporations are implementing AI ethics. Then they repeated this examination in 2021. And what happened? In 2018, the amount of executives that rank AI ethics as important was 50%, while 3 years later, it was 75%. So, as of 2021, 3 out of 4 executives view ethics as a source of competitive differentiation. So, what happened? In we can say that among these 3 years, there is a increasing awareness of the need of ethics embedded in technology solutions. But it's a idealistic approach. I think that there is something more, because I checked what happened in European Union in this scope in these years. And what we see in the wake of the growing ethics awareness, also the regulatory authorities started to proceed with their works. And in 2018, European Commission prepared prepared a European strategy on AI. Then there was many others documents, and in 2021 we saw first published project of regulation now called AI Act. So, in fact, it's really hard to say what percent of those declarations are motivated by pure idea of trustworthy NI in the business, and what percent is based on fear of legal consequences of non-compliance. But this is corporation and business, and how it looks when we look at the society and technology. Natalia Hatalska, founder of Polish in Future Institute and author of a great book, The Age of Paradoxes, Will the Technology Save Us? She writes something like this. One of characteristics of the Western world approach to technology is its embracing without any criticism. She calls it hooray optimism or even blind faith in progress. When new technology is released, we just start using it, and only after some time, although not always anyway, we start to consider if that technology is really needed, if it improves quality of our lives, uh, what are its negative outcomes, and finally, we regulate it. We try to regulate it. It's my own remark. That was the case of Internet. It started to be common around 2000. 20 years later, issues regarding privacy and data collecting still haven't been appropriately regulated. And this is also my opinion. I don't think so. Is it really possible to be regulated at all? It's really a hard question about how to regulate technology, but we don't have so much time in here, so we just go further. Because when we talk about ethics in technology, we see a lot of dilemmas. There is really an ocean of dilemmas. For example, like trolley problem, very old problem since 1970s, which now has a great application in auto in autonomic cars, for example. We have a lot of biases regarding gender, ethnicity. We have problems which comes from cognitive services. Always there is a question if security, accountability, transparency, inclusion were mm, incorporated in technology at all? And if yes, so is it implemented in a sufficient way? There is also a very known problem in data science environment. It is quality of input data, so-called rubbish in, rubbish out. So there is really a lot of dilemmas when we think about ethics in technology. Because, for example, uh, when you ask yourself if technology is neutral or it is good or bad at the same time, it is really very hard question to answer. But no matter which approach is closer for you, uh, this is these are us, human, who create technology, and we decide how we will use it. For example, the simplest example of knife. You can cut bread with it, and you can use it in many other completely illegal ways. So is it a knife neutral or good and bad at the same time? I leave you with this question. But go to the much more higher technology than knife. Researchers from human-centered mm, uh, uh, human-centered artificial intelligence mm, at Stanford University wrote in a paper preparing for the age of deepfakes and disinformation something like this. The rapid development of generative adversarial networks, sometimes referred to as GANs, GANs, has opened up a broad array of application in fields as diverse as medical imaging, the arts, information technology, media, and even design dental fixtures, just to name a few. The underlying technology essentially teaches itself how to create progressively more and more believable content by taking two separate algorithms and training them against one another to improve their performance in tandem. And what happens? The first algorithm, known as generator, learns how to produce synthetic content from a set of training data, while the second algorithm, discriminator, learns how to determine if a given piece of content produced by the generator is real or fake. If successfully implemented, this adversarial design paradigm can be applied to a very vast array of use cases nearly indistinguishable from the reality of human communication. While responsible use of these programs show that they can provide clear benefits to society, malicious actors can have increasingly shown a willingness to use them to expand the scale of disinformation campaigns and use their self-improving nature to make content forgery more difficult to spot. And today, in the age of disinformation and deepfakes, we can see it really works. So that's why the education of children is so important as early as possible. So now go to the metaverse. Uh, as for now, although the metaverse is so glorified by mm, big tech and so many data hungry companies are pushing this idea, people are not convinced to the concept of metaverse. After a short time, they cease using it. According to Wall Street Journal report, the majority of users cease using VR device after 1 month. And according to internal statistics of Meta, only 9% of worlds built by creators in metaverse are ever visited by at least, yes, and this is a question for you. How many people visit this 9% of worlds? So you can write it on a chat if you want. I can't see any answers. Okay, so let's go further. I will tell you at least 50 people. Yes, only 50. Not 500, not 5,000, only 50, 50 people visit, at least 50 people visit this 9% of worlds built in a metaverse. Most are even never visited at all. And we must remember that when we see this great push in metaverse, that with each new and improved medium for accessing the web comes also a new and improved method for harvesting our personal data. As these technologies become more immersive and tightly integrated with our own daily lives, so too do the corresponding intrusive attacks on user privacy. More technology, more risks. It's like this. Mm, So let's just look at the mm, at the let's just look at the headset. For example, the Verge uh, tested Quest Pro by Meta VR headset. What is it? What is it consisted of? And what we can see, it has a microphone. It has also 5 cameras directed outward facing, and we can see also that it has 5 cameras directed inwards. Why? Because these 5 cameras inwards, they observe user's face, eye movement, and facial expressions. Of course, Meta denies that it uses that information to predict emotions, and according to Meta, the raw data being used to accelerate core functions are stored only in headphone set, only locally processed, and are deleted upon being used. Okay, data are removed, but observations made on the basis of those data may be processed and stored on other servers. And this can lead to emotional using of people in metaverse by observing their reactions on certain content and experiences. And for example, researchers from Inspirit Lab at University of Denver in Colorado examined 10 VR devices regarding their security options. What they found is that most of them, it means 7, do not provide two-factor authentication, don't say about multi-factor authentication at all. 4 of these devices do not have any means to delete user's account, and 2 VR headsets provide social authentication as an additional layer, while, for example, Meta's set offers social authentication as primary and the only one layer of authentication, and it allows only, guess what, Facebook logins. But positive example is that some VR headsets offer advances authentication methods. For example, HoloLens provides up to 6 authentication methods, including also 5.2 security key. The researchers found also that all examined VR devices collect terabytes of users' data. However, we don't have so much time to uh, say about all these data sets. There's really a lot of, but for example, only 2 examined VR headsets have embedded privacy policy that determine how long data is kept and processed. It means as long as is needed to satisfy the purposes of data collection. It is enigmatic, but better this than nothing. But this is not the end. If you think it's the end of data collecting, not. It's not the end. Researchers from other university, it is Berkeley and Technical University in Munich, they arranged a virtual escape room. And what they did, they accurately inferred over 25 personal data attributes from anthropomorphic, like height, wingspan, interpupillary distance, and also demographic, like gender and age. They inferred it by fitness test, eyesight, or reaction time. Did you know that eye movement can reveal users' gender, age, and interests in a scene? In a scene? Some of these attributes would be difficult, if even impossible, to observe while using traditional mobile or web application. During this research, they also found that there is possible attackers full access to APIs provided by the VR device and host system. And this is really a great threat for children. There is also possible determining the type of commercially available VR setup of target user, and it might reveal his or her level of income and wealth. And it was also possible to guess geolocalization of target users. It was in a scale of one state in US. Other attributes that they could mm, infer, that was four categories of Montreal cognitive assessment called MOCA. It was like abstraction, attention, naming, and orientation, and also disabilities like farsightedness, nearsightedness, and red-green colors blindness. And now we have to think that researchers limited the scope of relatively benign data, but in real life, threat actors uh, can sacrifice much more time for the intelligence, and they can collect also much more sensitive data like political, sexual, or religious orientation, or many illnesses, and they can use it in many illegal ways, including also stalking. So when we think about metaverse, we have to remember that given how immersive, emotionally engaging VR environments can be, all these practices and threats can become more pernicious and effective, and much more effective than current mobile or desktop applications. The clue is that a threat actor could not only observe the target user, but it also can change users' opinion in a very slightly also uh, almost unobservable way. And this is a real great uh, danger. The accuracy of harvested data and push of data-hungry companies towards metaverse indicate that the data collection and inference practices in VR environments will only become more pervasive in our daily lives. And also breadth of possible VR apps, increasing quality and accuracy of VR devices, and simplicity of their usage, let us assume that more sophisticated attacks with higher success rate are more than possible in near future. And now go just for a moment to the biotechnology realm. Did you know that in 2017, there was a first public demonstration of artificially created living organism with embedded sequence, which has led to breach of technical security of computer system designed for DNA sequencing. So it's not surprising that concerns around the DNA sequencing systems are growing. It is possible that in future, in the wake of cyber attack on systems managing DNA synthesis, there will be a risk of implementing malicious sequence coding, malicious pathogens, harmful proteins or toxins, just like today's SQL injection attack. As for now, the risk of such attacks in our decade is low. It's really minimal, owing their complexity and level of difficulty. However, in future, when our kids will be adults, that risk will become for sure much more probable. So, what to do? Um, I tell you that many futurists who work on future, they say that there is only now, because now we create our future. So instead of forward run, maybe we should rewind. We should stop and think who will create this technology after us, and who will use those technology, and what they should have in their minds, and what values they will take to the future. So, what can we say? Kids should come into adulthood with security and privacy awareness, and it's at a possible level as it is only possible, and this awareness should be provided by us. We shouldn't let them learn by their own mistakes like our generations had to, because we didn't have to face with such risks as today youths. And it's not only our role, but it's also our responsibility. So let's see, who are generations Z and Alpha? When we talk about Generation Z, these are youths that were born since that have been born have been born since 1995. So most of the some of them are now at the are adult, but there is also Generation Alpha. These are kids born after 2010, and this generation, above these generations, are definitely dependent on smartphones, and these older kids, they knows it perfectly well that it's not good, but they don't know any other way. It doesn't surprise, because as of 2022 research, 22 no 20 92% more, even more than 92% of users access the web primarily via their mobile phones, and it regards all users, youths and adults. So if we have such a mm, such a result in whole population, it shouldn't make us surprised that children are dependent on smartphones. And some of them, they would like to change this, but they don't know the solution. And for example, Nancy Jo Sales, when she interviewed teens in United States about using technology, she asked one girl, "Why don't you just give them up these smartphones?" And she said, that girl, "Because then we would no longer have a life at all." So when we think also that pandemics significantly increased the amount of youth data transferred online, and regarding Gen Alpha, these are these kids that are still in our families, and we can ask how they will be. I think that it will be same thing, but only more. And here you can see uh, a research of Dr. Jean Twenji using Monitoring the Future. That was the use of social media, the rate of youths using social media almost every day. It stopped in 2016, but when you read articles, press, internet, so I think you will agree with me that it is still rising. Mm. So there is a lot of initiatives for children and for also for adults to learn, to teach and learn security and privacy, and Mm, many authorities also see this necessity. For example, European Commission recently published ethical guidelines on use of artificial intelligence and data in teaching and learning for educators. It is the very fresh document. Also, Irish Data Protection Authority prepared 2 years ago uh, lessons plan for schools about privacy. We can see also some actions of government of Canada. And when we see some articles, there is also mm, there is also this problem is visible. And there are also tools. I'm sorry. There are also tools. For example, disconnect, prepare an app. Then from one side, it stops and it stops and clean cookies, and on the other hand, it learns children about privacy. There is also Polish project Digital Scout, which is dedicated for schools. But what is very important, it is also dedicated for people who are not security professionals, for example, like teachers. And this project aiming to learn them how to talk about security and privacy to minors. We have also games, for example, Most Likely Machine, really great game helping children develop algorithmic ideas. So we can see these ideas are. So the only thing that we should do, uh, just to take this mm, example and use it. And this also my question, my own question: is it like this, that this is my information bubble because I am interested in this topic, uh, or it is a really global trend that we observe? So I just leave here this question. So what can we teach our children? For me, these are three main domains. It is critical thinking, digital skills, and mindfulness. We can also get help from a future skills report by World Economic Forum. It is also very helpful. But for me, these three domains are main. So why critical thinking? Because we can see that just now unprecedented wave of disinformation. We have to learn children. We have to teach children how to differentiate fake news from the truth. We have to um, uh, we have to help them find the courage to ask questions and to ask about sources. This is our responsibility. Then digital skills. Youths don't know how to write CV, but they really know well how to prepare video about themselves. And we should enhance these skills and learn them uh, and teach them about this as much as it's only possible. Because, for example, Peter Diamandis, founder of Singularity University, he just now preparing meta trends that will shape the decade ahead till 2033. And for example, as a meta trend number one, he located that everything is smart and embedded with intelligence. So just let our children be aware and skilled in it, how to use it, and how to be subject of the technology and not just blind user. And the third area is mindfulness, because I observe that youths nowadays, they have a weaker attention span than previous generations and are more impatient. And in my own opinion, they can be more prone for phishing. So, learning them mindfulness, how to stop and think what is happening, it would be very, very useful for them. We have to remember also that these are individuals who need personal attention and customized activities. And for example, as Professor Twenji in her book iGen, he wrote that security is very important for Gen Z. But we have to remember that her book regards children and teens in US. And for example, when I talked to Artur Markiewicz from Digital Scout, from his experiences after many lessons that he gave in schools and general for kids and teens, he said that Polish children are fed up with security because everywhere they have to be secure. In kindergarten, in school, they are many times they are also raised up by so-called helicopter parents. So security, it's not the key for them. The key is simplicity. We have to show them that security is simple, that you can do it in a few minutes, in a few clicks, and it's now just easy to do. Uh, what next? People, uh, mm, children, uh, think about privacy. I think about privacy in a relationship context. So we have to repeat them that people forget, but internet never forgets. Also, we should break information into bite-sized chunks. It must be edible, if I can say like this. Also, forms must be differentiated. We should mix talk, test, video, graphics, live website presentation. For example, last Saturday, I presented together with my friend in Akamai. It was a presentation for children on how to be safe in internet, and my friend presented live map of current cyber attacks. And when children saw on a big screen this live map, they were really astonished. So just the more multimedia, the better. And also, we can go by the way of TikTok, for example, and make security privacy challenges. If we know someone when we see that in a class there is a girl or a boy who is really skilled, digitally skilled, and knows a lot, we can challenge him. We can we can say to him, okay, so if you are so skilled, it's great. So I give you a challenge and learn your colleagues how to be secure and keep privacy in internet. I think it will also work. But as going further, we should also be understanding and patient mentor of values, because we have to learn our children that just because you can doesn't mean you should. And there is an additional challenge for us. It is how to learn parents how to talk to their children about the security and privacy in the internet. I think that initiatives like Digital Pillow will help mm, to teach parents about these topics, which are not which is not easy issue. So finally, will security education heal all our issues? In my opinion, no. We have to remember that education in every aspect of our lives is the greatest warranty of their quality, as Natalia Hatalska wrote in her book. But there are areas which where education is not sufficient, because these are us who create technology and embed also in it our problems, our biases. And we won't create by technology a brave new world. I don't think so if we would like to live in such a world like Aldous Huxley wrote. For example, I think that teens' problems related to adolescence will be transferred to future and to next newer technologies. And in my opinion, there always will be bully, there always will be peer aggression and victims. But in this case, this is what we can do. It is just to let children talk, just to ask them and then patiently wait for the answers. It is important that children trust their parents or other adults, that they know that they can talk about their problems with trusted adults. Why? Because in lack of these trusted parents, trusted adults, that place would be taken by the threat actor. So in this case, the key is compassion and time for our kids. Thank you very, very much. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them. So I will now stop presentation. Okay. Mm. Do you have any questions? Hmm. So thank you very much. Great session. Thank you. You mixed two different topics and I found both of them interesting. Many thanks. No, I have to admit that I was really stressed. So thank you very much. Okay. Many thanks. Okay, so there is 5 minutes left, so just let's have a morning coffee, first or second. So thank you very much, and I hope see you in the future. Bye bye. Is there any application for controlling security in child's tablets? Yes, there are a few. There is, for example, Firefox for families. There is a possible. There is a. They give a whole education track about it, so you can see it. But from my experience, my daughter still don't have uh, doesn't have a tablet or a mobile phone, so I don't know exact mm, that I would use any applications. So, but I would like to recommend this Firefox for families just to check. Okay, if there is no questions, so let's have a coffee. Thank you very much.